For a long time the room sat still. People kept arriving, one after another, and still nothing moved until one more walked in and the whole room rose to its feet at once. Think about what one extra person is worth. One more in a room is one more voice, one more pair of hands, a single small share of the whole. Add them when nothing is stirring, and nothing stirs. So you carry a simple rule. One person changes things by one person's worth, no more. Yet you have stood in a room where one arrival turned everyone at once. So go back and account for it, person by person, from the first arrival on. Watch what each one adds. For almost the whole stretch, the answer holds steady. Each new person moves things by exactly themselves, one small step, no larger than the step before. Lined up, the additions are a row of equal, modest contributions. The enormous turn at the end is in none of them. To see where it comes from, build the room in front of you. Picture the people as a crowd of points, each holding a private number of its own. The count of others it must see go before it will go itself. One waits for two, another for many, another moves almost on its own. Off to the side, a tally counts how many have gone. Now let them arrive, and watch the crowd, not the newcomer. Early on, the tally is low, and almost no one stands close to their number. Let one person arrive. They go, they light up, and that is the end of it. No one was waiting on them, so no one follows. Let another arrive, and the same again, a single point lighting, alone. One more in, one more lit. Here, at the start, your simple rule holds exactly. Far from anything, one extra person is worth precisely one. Keep letting them in, at the same steady rate. On the surface it looks no different. Points lighting one at a time, the crowd as quiet as before. But underneath, something is shifting. With every arrival the tally creeps up, and as it does, more of the waiting points draw close to their own number, sitting now just one or two short. Nothing shows it. The room looks as still as ever, and is quietly arming itself. Now the tally is high, and a great many points stand poised, each a single arrival short of going. Let one more in. This time they do not light alone. The one they set off was waiting only on them, so it goes two, and the one beyond that follows. A small run of 3 or 4 from a single arrival. Nothing about the newcomer has changed. What changed is the crowd around them, packed now with points ready to move. Step back from the lights and watch one quiet measure instead, how much of the crowd now stands poised to go. At the start it was almost none. Arrival after arrival, that measure has climbed, while the surface gave nothing away. That rising line is the real story the calm was hiding. The stillness you saw was never the crowd refusing to move. It was the room loading, point by point, with no sign of how little now held it back. Now the tally stands one short of a count that runs right through the crowd. Let one more person in, an arrival no different from any other, the same single point as all the rest. They go, and the one waiting on them goes, and the ones waiting on those go, and the going does not stop. Each point that lights pushes the tally past the next one's number, so that one lights and pushes it past the next, and the going feeds the going. In a moment it has swept the whole room, and the crowd that sat still through every arrival now stands wholly turned. The newcomer did nothing the others had not done. They added one, the same one as ever. But that one arrival landed on a room loaded to its final point, and the whole of it went. Look at what set the size of that turn, because it was not the newcomer. That very same arrival, dropped into the room early on, lit one point and moved nothing else. Dropped in now, it moved the entire crowd. The person was identical both times. What differed was the room, how loaded it already stood behind them. So the arrival never carried the turn. The loaded crowd did. That last person only happened to stand in the doorway when the count came due. Test it twice over. First, take the one who set it off and put any other latecomer in their place. The run happens just the same, because the room was ready and almost any arrival would have reached the count. The trigger was never a particular person. Now try to take it back. Pull one person from the turned crowd and it does not settle. The others have already gone, and each now holds the next in place, so the room stays turned. To undo it, you would have to pull out far more than the one that set it off. Pull the whole picture together. A crowd loading quietly as people arrive, each with its own number, a tally climbing unseen toward the count that runs through everyone, and then one ordinary arrival that sends the whole room over. You have been watching a single quantity all along, the size the gathering must reach before one more turns all of it. That quantity is what we will call the critical mass. It is no special person and no magic figure, only the point where the room holds just enough weighting that the next to arrive completes it. Hold the two ways of watching together. Watch only the surface, the points lighting one by one, and you see a quiet room, then with no warning, a sudden turn. Watch the loading instead, the tally climbing toward the count, and you see the whole thing approaching, plain long before it arrives. Same crowd, same moment. One says nothing is happening. The other says it is nearly here. The gap between them is why one extra person can seem to work magic. You were counting heads at the door, while the room kept its real reckoning elsewhere. Stay with the moment just before the turn. By then, the room is as quiet as it has ever been, and a quiet, settled room is exactly what calm is supposed to look like. So the crowd seems most at rest at the very instant it stands closest to going. That stillness was never safety, only a room loaded to its final point. Nothing random reaches in to set it off, no outside spark, no stroke of bad luck. The arrivals keep their steady, ordinary pace until the count is met. It took just one more. It was never about that one. Carry this back to where you started. A quiet, unmoved crowd, the kind you would swear is going nowhere, no longer tells you it will stay that way. How still a room looks says almost nothing about how close it sits to its count. So you stop weighing the size of the next arrival, which is only ever one, and begin asking what state the room is already in, how much of it stands poised beneath an unremarkable surface. And the question quietly changes. Not, was that last person important enough to do this, but how close the room already stood to its count. You are not learning that one person can move anything, and you are not being told to go be the one who turns a crowd. More often than not, a room sits well short of its count, and one more does almost nothing, as your rule said. What you learn to read is the loading, telling a room with little left holding it from a quiet one that will take everyone you send. Let the whole picture stand. The arrivals that each added only themselves. The tally climbing while the room stayed quiet. The one ordinary newcomer who landed on a crowd loaded to its last point. The turn that ran through everyone at once and would not be undone by removing one. Hold them together. One more person can change everything. The power was never in the person. It was in the loaded room that one more completed. A room can turn from a single arrival once you see it was loaded all along. And a system that has held steady for years, asking nothing of anyone, can carry a reckoning of its own underneath.